In the 1960s was a palpable riotous in Oakland, California. It spread like wildfire through other nations. This marked moment was called the Black Panthers Party. It was a revolution organization. Their rally cry was all power to the people. They resonated with Blacks and any individual that experienced systemic oppression or police brutality.
So join us in this two-part series on the Black Panthers and decide what side you see of them.
Joining us for Black History Month is our friend and special guest.
We'd like to introduce to you Agent Brooks.
Thank you, Agents Owens and Wells. I'm glad to be joining you in Studio 70 to discuss these true crime events during Black History Month.
Tell us, Agent Brooks, what's the case we will be covering today?
Today we are going to discuss part 1 of the controversial organization called the Black Panthers.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining. We appreciate you. Just remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Do your own research. And we got some exciting news for our Studio 70 folks. We have what's new this year.
Yes, we definitely have the jump scare. That's what
we
you're
have
talking.
A new show, The Jump Scare. So if you like scary stuff, check it out. And if you don't know about it, here's a quick little promo we'd like to share with you guys. Join us at The Jump Scare, where we watch and react to scary and strange videos. But there's a twist. As you watch, we throw in our own jump scare videos to keep you on your toes. Do you have nerves of steel? Prove it by taking our challenge for some added fun. Watch with a full mug of water, preferably with our logo on it, and see if you can stay steady and dry. Please be safe by keeping the water at room temperature and holding the cup away from anything that can be ruined, like electronics. Let us know if you kept your cool or ended up all washed up. All right, guys. So we're back.
Washed up.
You'll go washed up. And anyhow, so what we're going to do today is we're going to have this channel. It's called NBC News Learn. We're going to do a quick overview on the Black Panthers. Then we're going to get into the Crime Force team and ask some questions and dive into a little bit deeper. But we want to first give video credit to this NBC News Learn. So please go over there, show them some love as we
support other channels.
Get started here. So here we go. All right. Oops, sorry guys. So here we go. And let's see. We're going to get started right now. Let's take a listen in on this one.
The Black Panther Party rose from concern about the increase of police violence against black citizens in Oakland, California. In 1966, political activist Huey Newton founded the Black Panther Party with the help of his Oakland City College classmate Bobby Seale and his childhood friend David Hilliard. Unlike the nonviolent movement of Martin Luther King, the Black Panthers believed that blacks should act aggressively in their own defense when police violated their rights.
So the concept is this, basically. The whole black nation has to be put together as a black army.
Newton and Seale very much understood this as a matter of rights. And so part of how they would police the police was that they would carry guns, because in 1966 in California, it was legal to carry an unconcealed weapon.
Wow.
Yes.
But part of what they would also carry was tape recorders, legal casebooks.
Protect themselves.
The part of the idea behind policing the police and the police patrols and then educating the community was about what are your rights vis-a-vis the police, and making the police have to live up to those rules and to those rights, and kind of transforming the relationship between the police as sort of an occupying force or a force that was sort of not there to protect,
keep them accountable,
necessarily the black community, and beginning to say, no, we are not going to allow this kind of policing.
The Black Panthers also work for social reform by creating a free breakfast program for needy children, medical services for the poor, and educational lectures about black history and politics. Soon, chapters of the Black Panther Party opened in major cities around the country, from California to New York City. To many, especially in the African American community, the Panthers were heroes. But their aggressive rhetoric, military-style dress, and open display of weapons made law enforcement agencies such as the FBI consider them a threat. In 1968, FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover began a campaign to neutralize the Black Panthers. He instituted COINTELPRO, a counterintelligence program originally used during the 1950s against suspected communists in the United States.
The FBI's COINTELPRO strategy against the Panthers involved sowing dissension between the Panthers and other groups. Hoover and the FBI realized that people are already distrusting each other, and so they began to send things like anonymous letters saying, so-and-so is out to kill you, so-and-so said this about you. So playing on feelings of distrust that were there, but amplifying them and kind of stoking these tensions until the point when, in some cases, they explode.
The FBI paid informants in the Panther organization to pass false information to the police that would result in the arrests of Black Panthers.
Part of what you see in terms of the Panthers in the late 60s and early 70s is just people fighting charge after charge after charge. And so much work goes into defending people. The vast majority of those charges don't stick, but it doesn't matter. Because if you have a group that has a lot of membership and most of what that membership is now doing is raising money or trying to make sure that its leaders are not in jail as opposed to building other kinds of programs, it's very powerful in terms of the way it weakens the organization.
The Black Panthers were further weakened when longtime party leaders left the organization. Bobby Seale resigned in 1974. Huey Newton fled to Cuba to avoid an arrest charge.
Wow.
A change in leadership and renewed focus on developing community programs could not save the Panthers. By the close of the 1970s, the Black Panther Party disbanded.
That was really sad.
Wow. That's really crazy.
Yes.
Let me pause this.
And that's like the same thing that goes with the new Jim Crow. They have all of these things that it really affected the African Americans or the blacks, anyone that was suffering through poverty. It was just sad. And the way they did it was really not.
Yeah, and the way they try to think of the ways to control things without outright. It's almost like they did it like under the covers, did secretly mess. I don't know. It seems really messed up to me. It sounds, I guess maybe we're just afraid of that organization.
Yes, because they didn't have any control because, of course, the government likes to rule, right? And, of course, I know one thing I know they expanded when they had the guns out and everything, everybody was like, oh, wow. But the fact is they had to defend themselves because, like you said, under the covers, what police would do, they would...
Yeah, they need to make them accountable, what's going on.
Yeah, it was just sad. And they know they are wrong with that, the police at that time. And I'm not saying all of them because we definitely had, some people that was definitely on the black side and knew that this was wrong.
So let's ask Crime Force a little more questions here.
Yeah.
So what was the first major influences in the formation of the Black Panther Party? So that was one of the questions that came up.
The Black Panther Party was founded in 1966 in Oakland, California, by Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale. It emerged as a response to systemic racism, police brutality, and the lack of justice for African Americans. The formation of the party was influenced by several key events and ideologies.
And these are very educated people.
There were police brutality and systemic racism. The Black Panther Party was created in response to the persistent police violence against black people, particularly in Oakland, where the police had a reputation for brutality. Newton and Seale were inspired by the need for self-defense against the police, who were known to target black communities.
That's crazy.
The influence of Malcolm X. The ideas of Malcolm X, especially his calls for black self-determination, empowerment, and the right to defend oneself against racial oppression, heavily influenced the Black Panther Party. Malcolm X's advocacy for armed resistance to injustice resonated with Newton and Seale, who believed that black people had the right to defend themselves.
Yep.
The BPP's platform was outlined in their 10-point program, which called for justice, equality, an end to police brutality, and better access to education and employment. It also demanded the release of black prisoners who had been unjustly incarcerated. The program was rooted in the principles of revolutionary socialism and aimed to address the economic and social inequalities faced by African Americans.
Yep.
I mean, you know, we talked about the 2020s.
Initially, the BPP was known for organizing armed patrols of police activity in Oakland. They would monitor the police to ensure that black residents were not being abused or mistreated. This was partly made possible by California's open carry gun laws at the time, which allowed the Panthers to legally carry firearms in public.
So that was legal, right? So they didn't do anything wrong.
The program may have been groovy, but its purpose was to fuel revolution by encouraging black people's survival. From 1969 through the early 1970s, the Black Panthers' Free Breakfast for School Children program fed tens of thousands of hungry kids. It was just one facet of a wealth of social programs created by the party, and it helped contribute to the existence of federal free breakfast programs today.
That was very important of Agent Owens. And so why was the Black Panther Party created?
What was their main goal and purpose?
Yeah, because a lot of people think it's more nefarious, but it's really not. So let's hear from them. Let's hear what Crime Force had to say.
When Black Panther Party founders Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale founded the party in 1966, their goal and purpose was to end police brutality in Oakland. But a faction of the civil rights movement led by SNCC member Stokely Carmichael began calling for the uplift and self-determination of African Americans, and soon Black Power was part of their platform. At first, the Black Panther Party primarily organized neighborhood police patrols that took advantage of open carry laws, but over time its mandate expanded to include social programs, too.
Yeah. So see, it wasn't anything like, just people just want to protect themselves.
Exactly. And treat it fairly. That's the whole thing. That's the only word we need. Justice and fair. That's all we was asking for. And that was not even a lot.
No.
Right.
God, I know you want to say a lot more. We'll save it to the end. What specific rumors did the FBI spread about the Black Panther Party?
This is a good one.
We talked, mentioned it in that video a little bit, but let's see what else they came up with.
Elaborate on that.
The FBI spread ominous rumors designed to incite violence within the Black Panther Party and between the Panthers and other Black Power groups. The agency created and disseminated a torrent of disinformation to discredit Panthers both personally and organizationally. They created and controlled negative media, including skillfully edited documentaries and false newspapers to spread misinformation about party members.
That's what they do today.
Yeah.
That was back then.
The FBI infiltrated the Black Panther Party at every level, using these infiltrators to spread rumors from within conflicts arose between the Black Panther Party and other groups like the U.S. organization. FBI officials directed field offices to exploit all avenues of creating further dissension. Some rumors were specifically designed to provoke violent conflicts between the Panthers and other groups. The FBI's efforts aimed to link the Panthers in the public mind with terrorist actions and criminal activities. The rumors were part of a broader strategy to disrupt, misdirect, and neutralize the Black Panther Party. Harassed Black Panther Party members in front of terrified children, and participating children were photographed by Chicago police.
Crazy.
The Panthers started the food program for kids. The night before, the first breakfast program in Chicago was supposed to open, a female Panther told historian Nick Haynan the Chicago police broke into the church and mashed up all the food and urinated on it.
That's messed up.
Ultimately, these and other efforts to destroy the Black Panthers broke up the program. In the end, though, the public visibility of the Panthers' breakfast programs put pressure on political leaders to feed children before school. The result of thousands of American children becoming accustomed to free breakfast, former party member Norma Morim-Toon told Eater, was the government expanded its own school food programs. Though the USDA had piloted free breakfast efforts since the mid-1960s, the program only took off in the early 1970s, right around the time the Black Panthers programs were dismantled. In 1975, the school breakfast program was permanently authorized. Today, it helps feed over 14.57 million children before school.
And that's awesome.
Yes. It's crazy. So what are the ways that the Black Panther Party helped the community?
And that was part of it. That was some of it. So that was one of the questions we had coming in.
The Black Panther Party set up free health clinics in multiple urban areas, which provided essential medical services to those who could not afford them. These clinics offered a range of services, including immunizations, checkups, and sickle cell anemia testing. The health clinics were crucial in addressing health disparities faced by African Americans due to systemic neglect and discrimination in healthcare. The Black Panther Party recognized the systemic discrimination and lack of access to quality healthcare for African Americans. They saw that public hospitals and clinics were often underfunded and overcrowded. In 1968, the first PFMCs were established in Kansas City, Chicago, and Seattle. By 1970, 10 additional clinics were opened across the country. Each local chapter was responsible for raising funds from local businesses, churches, and healthcare professionals. Trusted volunteer professionals, including physicians, nurses, pharmacists, and medical students, staffed the clinics. The clinics offered first aid, childhood vaccinations, screenings for high blood pressure, lead poisoning, tuberculosis, and diabetes. They also provided community education and screening for sickle cell anemia.
Otherwise, they wouldn't have any of that.
The clinics faced harassment from city health inspectors, police raids, and difficulty maintaining consistent volunteer staffing. Despite these challenges, the clinics made a significant impact on community health. The legacy of these clinics continues today, with some, like the Franklin Lynch People's Free Health Center in Boston, evolving into freestanding clinics that still provide healthcare services. The Black Panther Party provided legal aid services as part of their community-focused survival programs. These programs were designed to support and empower Black Americans, particularly those in low-income communities. The Black Panther Party Legal Aid and Educational Program was one of the many initiatives they implemented to serve their community. Provide free legal assistance to those who couldn't afford it. Educate community members about their legal rights. Address issues of systemic racial inequality in the justice system. The legal aid services offered by the Black Panther Party were particularly crucial given the context of police brutality and state oppression that many Black Americans faced during that time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Let's see.
The Black Panther Party also incorporated cultural arts into their educational programs. The Intercommunal Youth Institute, established in 1971, aimed to provide an education that would enable Black children to analyze problems creatively and develop solutions. While not explicitly a cultural arts program, it likely included elements of cultural education and artistic expression as part of its curriculum. The Black Panther Party's cultural arts program was multifaceted, combining visual arts, journalism, and education to advance their revolutionary goals and empower the Black community. Emory Douglas played a pivotal role in the Black Panther Party's cultural arts program as the Minister of Culture and Artist of the Revolution. His contributions were instrumental in shaping the visual identity and messaging of the Black Panther Party. The Black Panther newspaper. As the Minister of Culture, Douglas was responsible for designing the layouts and iconic imagery for the Black Panther newspaper. This publication served as a vehicle for disseminating the party's message, a showcase for revolutionary art and design, an independently funded community news service. From 1967 to the early 1980s, Douglas produced more than 530 newspapers, each featuring his distinctive style of bold lines, graphic silhouettes, block text, and photo montage. Douglas's artwork became synonymous with the BPP's visual campaign, effectively bringing attention to issues of racial inequality, police brutality, and poverty, amplifying the Black Panthers' message, making it impossible to ignore the party's stance on social issue. His artistic contributions continue to inspire and challenge people today, demonstrating the power of creativity in pushing for social change. There were other positive initiatives such as youth education, such as the Intercommunal Youth Institute and Oakland Community School. The BPP's educational initiatives have had a lasting influence on U.S. schools. They are credited with creating one of the first community schools.
Wow, they did a good job. I mean, that was additional information.
Yes, it was.
So thank you guys. We appreciate you. All right. Woohoo! Great job.
Thank you guys.
Let's get them. I don't forget which one's the applause. All right. Yeah, they did a great job.
Yes,
so
just want to say thank you for doing a lot of the heavy lifting for us. But definitely, me as growing up as an African American woman, of course, I experienced this all through my life. Of course, things definitely has gotten better, and I'm not saying it didn't, but it was definitely something that happened in the 60s, in the 70s, and the 80s, and it still continued today. But I want to also talk about, there was the Black Panther Party, there was Malcolm X, there was Martin Luther King. They all was in the same era. They definitely had different ways of experiencing things and the way they design it, but they all were still there for one main purpose, and it was for fairness.
Yeah, and I think they had different experiences from what they were living and what they did, and they both had different tactics. And I think it was good too because you needed that. You needed action with also peace, maybe peaceful action, and all is the same thing. It's just having basic needs, being treated with respect. It's all the
Exactly. And then when they say, "Oh, Lincoln freed the slaves," that's not true. We freed ourselves because technically we were not going to stand it anymore. So when people say, "Oh, Lincoln didn't do it," we as African Americans and others as well that supported us did it. And thank you for those. I want to also say thank you for those people because if they did not take the stand, we probably wouldn't have been where we are today.
It's a combination because Lincoln put in the
acclamation proclamation. Yes,
and that at least.
But the only reason he did it because it seems like he almost didn't have a choice in a sense because we were still going to keep battling, and it was just like a lose-lose situation the way I see it.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of abolitionists in the North that were at the time really a loud presence, and Abraham Lincoln wanted to do actually that proclamation earlier, but unfortunately the North wasn't good battling at the time. He wanted to release it with a win on the battlefield, but unfortunately the North really wasn't winning. So when he found the right opportunity, he did it. But to your point, there is definitely truth, in the fact that they had to do it themselves because that was just the actual proclamation. People in the South, they still were under how many years later,
Exactly.
and they had to do it. And you did have to do it yourself because it wasn't like you had people available that were going to swoop in and help, right?
Exactly, definitely. So it was something that and if you think about it, is like we did it with hardly we had support from each other, but what about resources?
Yeah.
That's why I always say education is the key. A lot of us was like, oh, they're not going to service like in healthcare. I am going to become a doctor. I'm going to become a lawyer. I'm going to know my rights. And when you think of all of these people, they are all educated people. They all went to college.
And to your point, like even after the Civil War, and to your point, what we celebrate with Juneteenth and all that, you go into the 20th century, and to the points you're making, Shirok, when you say we have to free ourselves, that is true, almost pretty much you could say arguably current day that people are still fighting for the equal rights or equal opportunity.
Exactly.
You have DEI. So in that statement, it's definitely more broad and
exactly. And that's just crazy. It's been like hundreds of years and we still like you said, and that's one thing that's good. You brought up the DEI. I mean, I took DEI as well. And it's something else that we still have to push today.
Yeah. Yeah, and unfortunately, DEI has become like everything else. Everything that's good that comes across, people like overuse it or extend it or, use it. Unfortunately, in this world, no matter where you live, no matter what time, there's always going to be, as long as there's humans, you're always going to have good people and bad people. And just unfortunately, the struggles continue for many. But yeah, Shirok, I didn't even need to ask you what your opinion is. I was about to say you just wrote it.
Yeah, of course,
we got part two. Part two, so there's gonna be a lot more we can discuss there too as well. Because I want to hear it. I'm sure they want to hear it, and we want to say thank you guys who made this far. Please subscribe, share, check out the Jump Scare. Thank you for the Crime Force. They did a good job. We throw in some questions, or we come up with some questions, and they do a great job answering. Sorry we're a little flimsy here today, but we hope you enjoyed the show. And check out part 2 next week that's coming on this topic. So there'll be a lot more. And Shirok, any last words?
Oh, yes. Okay, I mean, I have a lot of last words, but I keep it short and succinct and sweet.
All right, what is it?
Studio 70.
Sounds good to me. Bam.